Welcome back to
the Fight Card.
Here we are back home. Just got back from Portland from UFC 102. Great night of fights. Great night.
It was an amazing experience altogether.
Overall, we just had a good weekend out there. We did a lot of cool things. Talked to a lot of good people. We talked with Joe Silva for a while, matchmaker extraordinaire. Watched the fights with Ryan Bader. Sat there with him. That was that was fun. He was a good guy.
What else? We just did a bunch of stuff. Met a lot of fighters. Met a lot of people I look up to.
A lot of good guys. Thiago Alves, Brandon Vera,
yeah.
Brock Lesnar, just all those guys.
Ariane Salam.
Mm-hmm. But to the fights.
Yeah, quick recap.
Chris Lieben, he
dead.
Had a seizure. He tapped. Clearly, Yves, he tapped out.
And here's what bugs me out. Before the fights, I was talking to Yves Levine, and he said he still feels bad about the Rampage and Vanderlei fight for not getting the angle and pushing Rampage away before he hit Vanderlei 3 more times.
Yep.
And he still feels bad about the Pete Sell and Matt Brown fight.
Yep.
So you'd think he'd call fights early, not let them go on for a little bit longer. And in this case, Chris Lieben felt the wrath and
choked out. And the best part about it is Yves is walking away, going backstage, and he comes right by us, and we look at him, and you say, Yves, and he looks right at us and goes, sorry. So
whatever. It was good.
It was good.
Next up, we had
Marquardt and Maya.
Yeah, I really wanted to see a war between them, but I'll take a 20-second knockout.
That was crazy.
First punch of the night.
Took him off his feet.
He literally went flying. Marquardt, you're the man. We got some exciting stuff to talk about in a little bit. Next, we had Thiago and Jardine. I knew Jardine was gonna get knocked out like that. I don't know.
It was bad. I mean, it was a fun fight to watch for as long as it lasted, but. He got taken out.
It just goes to show that Thiago's a killer. Jardine's there to hang, and
it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Thiago next.
Yeah.
Where does he go?
In the main event, we had probably the most epic heavyweight fight I've witnessed live.
Probably the most entertaining heavyweight fight.
That was the best. The first round was the best round of a fight I've ever watched in my life. I can't wait to watch it on pay-per-view again just to see what was going on.
Madness.
The crowd was hyped. It was the loudest event I've ever been to. Couture was going crazy. Nogueira was going crazy. I was surprised to see Nogueira stand there and exchange and get the better of the striking.
Because I thought that was going to be the difference maker. I thought Couture was going to have the better stand-up game, and I thought he was going to beat him up, and he did not at all. Nogueira
well, he did, but Nogueira won.
He just did better. He beat him up more, yeah. So, I mean, it was interesting. It was crazy.
It was crazy.
It was a good night. It was a good night.
Yeah. You got to tip your hat to Nogueira. That was a hell of a fight. You got to tip your hat to Couture. He is an absolute warrior for that one. We got a chance to talk to him after the fight for a little bit, and he was beat up and he was bruised, but he had a big smile on his face. He was hanging out with his family. He put on an event for autism awareness. He was out there hanging out with people, so obviously he's been through this before.
He's done it.
He knows what to expect. Who knows what's in store next for him. I'd hope to see that he kind of takes a look back and notices that he's kind of starting to fight his age, but hey, he can compete whenever he wants to compete.
And everyone will keep loving it and keep watching it.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to see him stop, but we know eventually it's got to happen.
Yeah. So real quick, on the way home from Portland, after talking to Joe Silva for an hour or so, talking about some events that's going on in the future, part of his job, what we think should happen, this and that and the other, he told us that Anderson will never fight for the 205-pound title as long as Lyoto Machida holds it. So until somebody beats Lyoto Machida, we're not going to see Anderson in a title fight. That's what he says right now. So we came up with this little scenario.
Yes.
To end the year.
Yes.
In December.
Ultimate 2009.
Yeah. Since Dan Henderson's up for a rematch with Anderson, as well as Nate Marquardt is now up for a rematch with Anderson Silva as well, we say, why don't you have Marquardt and Henderson fight each other, and on the same card, why don't you have Anderson fight, but it's not going to be for the 185-pound title because you have your 2 contenders fighting.
Exactly.
So put them up against a 205-pounder, but that wouldn't be the main event.
To be named later.
Why don't you have the main event be BJ Penn and Sanchez fight for the lightweight title? And then under that, have Anderson Silva fight. And then under that, have Marquardt and Dan Henderson fight for the shot at the title.
3 main events fights. It happened last year to end off 2008. It should happen again this year. And we thought about it time-wise as far as when these guys' last fights finished, how they finished, where they are. It lines up perfectly. None of those guys have anything coming up. They all just fought this summer. It's a beautiful thing. It lines up perfectly. But the big question is,
who is Anderson Silva?
Who will Anderson Silva fight?
Yeah.
At 205.
He's not going to fight Rashad. He's not going to fight Rampage because they have a fight coming up and there just doesn't leave enough time. He's not going to fight for the title.
And he's obviously not going to fight for it. So those are the 4 best guys at 205 right there, those 4. So really it's just a free-for-all of who wants
I'd like to see him fight Mauricio, but mathematically that won't work right now. He's
fighting as well.
So we thought maybe he could fight Thiago Silva.
Thiago Silva just got his win. He just got destroyed by Lyoto. He gets this 1 win. He fights him. Obviously, it sounds kind of like, why would he get to fight Anderson right now? He just got 1 win. Well, it's not a title shot. It's not anything big. It's just a fight for Anderson at 205 again. And, I mean, it makes sense to me. I think it
might happen. We don't know.
And the options are so limited at 205. I feel like Thiago Silva is a killer. He's got heavy hands, and he comes to fight. So, I mean, I'm not saying he would beat Anderson Silva, but I think it's a pretty solid 205-pounder for Anderson to fight.
The moral of the story is Anderson has to fight somebody really good because I don't think anybody less than really good will be appealing to him. And who's really good to fight that isn't Lyoto Machida?
And he's not going to fight Lyoto Machida, so that's out. And he's not going to fight at 185 pounds anytime soon because it has to be a title shot. And I don't think that, Dan Henderson beat Bisping just a little bit ago. I don't think that he should get the title shot before Marquardt just because he won first. I think they should have to battle it out, winner of that gets him, which is a beautiful thing because they're both great fighters. They're both strong, and they've both done it before, and they both put on a hell of a show against Anderson in their first fight against him.
So
they know what to expect. I was saying this weekend when we were there that, it's hard for guys who haven't fought Anderson yet to get mentally prepared to fight Anderson after seeing all the crazy things that he's doing. But they've both already done it. They fought him, and they put on a show. I think they have a pretty solid shot if they do it again.
Yeah, let's see if that happens. I'd like to see what we just said work its way out into the UFC.
It's going to be interesting.
For now, check out our pictures and all the events that we attended this weekend at fightcardguys.blogspot.com. And we'll give you a little preview right now. So check us out. See you next time for UFC 103.
Peace.
Fight card!